So Kyle, my buyers have just put an offer into a home, but they're a little bit concerned because it has a lot of decking that is in wood. There's a lot of buildings that are out by the pool that have been built, and they're just wondering if they need to be concerned about dry rot or termite. And will you be doing an inspection on that?
Yeah, so that's a good question, because when we go out to the property, the more information you can give us, the better. On if it's a deck and the deck is attached to the home, or if it's a landing that I have to walk, like if I walk out of the back door and I have to step onto this deck to be able to get to the backyard, then yes, we have to include that in the inspection, unless someone's requested us to exclude it from the report. Outhouse buildings, no, we don't need to include those whatsoever. So those are, if you're representing the buyer or you are the buyer and you have questions on that, call the company and say, hey, we want those inspected as well. We'll throw those in. Normally, unless it's another living quarters or something, we're not going to charge additional. We'll just do a separate report on those small items to give you an idea on those. So as far as the decks go, the biggest thing on decks, what's really hard is that we have to, when we do the report, we're just calling out, is there dry rot there or is there not dry rot there? We're not allowed to comment on the structural integrity of that deck. And so if you're a buyer and you get a report and it says $14,000 completely remove and replace this deck, that doesn't necessarily mean that the deck, you're going to fall through that deck. So I go to a lot of properties where the sellers have excluded the deck from the report because the deck's 9-10 years old and structurally that deck is fine, but they're afraid that because there might be a little bit of rot here and there, that the termite company is going to say completely remove and replace it, and they're going to have to pay a lot of money for that. So it's a really good idea for the sellers to put the deck on a separate report, just so in case it's needed, you can go to that. And it's a really good idea for the buyers to realize that the termite report isn't commenting on the structural integrity of that deck. It's just saying, is there a little, whether there's a little tiny bit of rot or there's a lot of rot, we have to call completely remove and replace it. So it's a really good idea for the buyers to understand that. Call the termite inspector, call the company and ask, you guys did the inspection, what did you see, about how much longer do you think this deck's going to last, is a really good idea.
That's a really good question, to want to know how long it's going to last.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you. So you mentioned about the outhouse, the buildings out by the pool, that we don't have to have them inspected. Wonder if it's a casitas that somebody's living in, or maybe we have a little kitchen that's going on in there that we have. Does that need to be inspected?
It depends if the appraiser's going to call it out. Okay. Normally, if someone gives us a property address, we go and inspect that property. If it's like when I went on tour the other day, and there was on one side was the house, on the other side was the casitas that had like a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, right. And that's the living quarters. That belongs to that house, and yes, we are going to put that in the inspection. That will be included no matter what. When it's an outbuilding that nobody's living in, it's just completely separate, that might be a different parcel. You just need the more information that we know before we go out there, the better.